with some considerable changes. So the nation of Coyote and their near-peer adversary force, the Coyote Armed Forces, or Red 4, has a poorly fortified and defended airfield west of the Flot border. Their defensive belt has significantly degraded with the destruction of their EWR C2 nodes and logistic hubs. The Royal Atropian Army leadership, along with U.S. assistance, have identified a strategic opening, which, if successfully accomplished, will provide our forces a foothold within the nation of Coyote. This mission is a coordinated airfield assault utilizing all of our squadrons and will be executed in a layered strike/assault fashion. The airfield is defended by an overlapping IAD system, which we're going to have to deal with. Utilizing modern long-range SAMs, SHORAD, and AAA, the airfield is also home to an aggressor squadron of various aircraft and is garrisoned by a mechanized infantry battalion. They are equipped with Soviet-built tanks and armored vehicles. So, multiple phases, lots of code words for this one. First and foremost, and this is in order of the need to conduct and establish. So, number one is a fighter sweep and a bar cap established. This will be our Vipers, hopefully being able to perform this for us. Code word for that is jackhammer. That is fighter sweep complete and bar cap is established. And then we need to neutralize that long range SAMs. Code word backhoe. That is the SA-10 suppression. We'll talk about a lot of this in depth. That is going to be our check and joker flights, hopefully. And then bulldozer is our SA-6 suppression at the airfield itself. And that is our dude flight, hopefully. Fighter sweep, the AO and established protection cap for this mission. So we're going to sweep the AO for enemy fighters. Actually, hold on. This should not be... so essentially the bar cap. So the sweep is first, and then we're going to establish the bar cap, and then that bar cap needs to stay in place for the duration of the mission, and that they will be the last RTB after Miller time is called. So then next, destroy and disable the Kaioshin airfield SHORAD and defenses. That is code word greater. All of this is construction, large construction equipment, and whatever. So greater is the A-10s. That would be SHORAD destroyed or fully degraded. And then excavator is airfield defenses have been reduced to a point where infiltration may begin. Excavator is the rest of the hogs, as well as our attack helos and scout helos. Infiltration of rangers and follow-on infantry forces. Paver is a helo infiltration of ranger ground forces near their command and control structure at the airfield. That is our Chinooks. And then dump truck is C-130 infiltration to follow on. And that's infantry and light armored vehicles, either via CARP or via a landing hot landing infill up, and that's up to the C-130s, however you guys feel would be safest and best performed. And then once those all ground forces are on the ground and have established security at the airfield, then we will be given the Miller time call, and then we will all retrograde from the AO, bar cap being the last to leave. Any questions so far? I know I went through that pretty quick, but we're going to get into it. We're going to go over this a couple of times throughout this brief. So,
how many Rangers are we talking about?
It's going to be as many as we can fit in however many Chinooks you can get airborne.
Gotcha.
So if we can get 2, 3, 4 Chinooks, we're going to load them full of Rangers. If we can't, we can't. We don't need any vehicles in the Chinooks. We don't need to sling load anything. That will be C-130 provided, as long as we can get C-130 pilots that can bring us rolling stock. Cool. Other questions?
Nope.
All right, cool. Here's the assignment and taskings. We already went over it very briefly. But again, Bucko 1, BAI is their SHORAD at the airfield. And that is their focus. It's not the only thing that they can shoot at. It's just their focus. T-Bone 2, if we field the T-Bone 2, they're going to be BAI, anything ground. So armor, infantry, other vehicles, checkpoints, whatever. That's T-Bone 2's focus. T-Bone or Maniac 3, their BAI is anything airworthy on the ground at Tonopah test. So the alert aircraft that are there, that's your primary target, right? Any helicopters there, primary targets for Maniac 3. Check 1 and Joker, your primary tasking is the SA-10 Deed Seed, whatever. I'd rather Deed, but if Seed works, then Seed works. Cowboy 1 will be the fighter sweep and then follow on cap if able. Lobo 2 will be cap, and then I'm not anticipating a Venom flight, but if we get a Venom flight, they can do yo-yo ops in the cap bar cap lane. Gunslinger will be strike and AP. Essentially, you're going to be escorting your Chinooks in, and you'll be assisting the Hogs with wiping out the ground forces at the objective and making sure that the Chinooks and the C-130s get in safely. Saber 2 will be AP or ISR, primarily just getting in there, getting intel, and being able to feed that intel to the Hogs and to the Apaches so that we can prioritize targets. Reach 1 and Reach 2 is either the CARP or the hot field infill. Again, we'll discuss that here in a minute. Dude 1 is the SA-6 Deed, must be Deed at the objective. And then Maui 3 is the Special Operations Forces infill. And then Strike Star, it will be myself in the J-Stars vehicle. I'm asking for Red 4, but we'll see if we get any Red 4. It might just be all AI, but this will be a potential mission for live Red 4. And then all of your codes and everything are in here for squawk codes and laser codes and all that stuff. Any questions about this slide here? Cool. Moving on. All right, here's our flow, essentially our AO and routing. So we've got CP General. That is for our Cowboy flight, our Joker flight, Lobo flight, and our Czech flight will be based out of CP General. And then Contractor, I have Lobo and Venom down here, I apologize, but CP Contractor is for the A-10s, the Dude flight, and for our 41st will be CPing at Contractor. First Reg, you're going to be operating out of a FARP, which is even further behind enemy lines, get you a little bit closer to the objective. Our objective here is Tonopah Test Range Airfield, and then all of our call signs. And then our backhoe or our SA-10 is way back here, so they actually cover, we're kind of right on the edge of their WES, but they do have coverage over it. So that is our SA-10 that needs to be shacked. So we do have clearance, obviously, to bust this border if we have to. Hopefully we can do all of our work back here and stay safe and sound. We've got very little air SAM coverage from this FARP, and then no SAM coverage anywhere down here. We've got an SA. We'll talk a little bit more about the threat picture. Anyways, that's our routing. So essentially everybody from Nellis through the Sally corridor using the Dream departure. We're going to break off the C-130s have to land here at this remote airfield to pick up their Rangers, and then hurry up, get back airborne, and get to their CP for their follow-on tasking. And then everybody else is just going to fly direct to CP, and then we'll go over the code words and how it's all going to flow from there. We've got our tankers in our standard spot. Tankers in our standard spot. We've got Focus up here, and then we've got Magic and Strike Star down here. And then again, do not bust the container. We still have the no-fly zone container. Pahoot Mesa's got an active SA-6, but it should be no factor. We should all be playing up here, infilling and exfilling, crossing the FLOT, all up here in the northern area. Any questions about this is just routing. Any questions about the routing? Cool. Moving on. All right. Here's our timing and coordination. This is really kind of the bread and butter and where the most confusion is going to happen just because of A needs to happen before B, and then B and C need to happen before D, and so on and so forth. So it's a 0400 mission start, and that's good for the ground troops because we want to try to get them in just as the sun's coming up or before the sun comes up. So infill in the cover of darkness, and then they can continue their operations throughout the morning when they have good light. So 0400 mission start. First reg, their go condition is just as soon as you can get up and ready. Strike Star is going to call the hammer time call, and then you all the helos can essentially fly in and establish their Overwatch and ISR from a covered and concealed position, bearing in mind that you may not have cap up or a fighter sweep completed yet. So you may want to stay underneath your SHORAD, your NASAMS coverage. And then you'll be able to feed Bucko that ISR information for the SHORAD and the AAA to help them pre-plan while they're at their CP. 0412, Bucko 1 is going to taxi, and then T-Bone 2 as well will taxi at the same time. If we have a Maniac flight, they will taxi as well. So Hogs are going to taxi first and get off because they're going to be the slowest. Then Reach is going to taxi and take off because they've got to go land, pick up their troops, and then get airborne again. So we've got to get them up there fairly quickly. Then Cowboy Lobo at 4:15. 4:17 will be Check and Joker, and then the fastest, of course, will be Dude, or the last will be Dude because they're the fastest and they've got the shortest route to get to their CP. So any questions about this? Do we think from 4 to 412 and 419 we can get all of our issues ironed out and get taxiing to the runway at these times? Does anybody think we can't? How about that?
I think it's iffy.
You think it's iffy?
Well, just, we always have problems, We're probably going to have to have some kind of discipline when we're joining the server instead of bum rushing it like we did last time.
And we're going to join the server in that's a good call. I wonder maybe we should establish that too. You know what? Let me take these notes. Because what I'll do is I'll establish a server connection time as well. So that may push our time back, right?
Is that a general limitation or a sandbox limitation?
It's, we're going to have to do this on the sandbox just because of Olympus. And it's I want to say it's a Fox 3 limitation. I think the RAM that we're pushing on the sandbox, I've already bumped it up, but I think when we all jump in at once, I think it just causes a big, huge, fucking computer fart, and it causes it to really hiccup badly. So I think if we do what Jonah said and we do that kind of staged entry, hey, whoever Hogs join at this time, and then C-130s join at this time, so on and so forth down the row, maybe a minute apart. I think that's probably all we need is whatever. Our start time is usually 6 o'clock. So at 6 o'clock, Hogs go in, we're going to do our briefing. So 6:30 Hogs, 6:32 will be, so on and so forth, right? Every 2 minutes.
Karma.
Yeah.
I think you missed the last mission, right? But I've never seen the sandbox do that. It could potentially happen again. I don't know what was going on, but it was the worst that I've ever seen in any of our missions ever.
I wonder what it was. So what I'll do.
Fine.
Go ahead.
What's wrong with the other server?
There's no Olympus on the other server, so we took it off. Unfortunately, we thought Olympus early on in the implementation of Olympus, we thought that the draw was so bad that's what was causing a lot of our lag. So we took it off of the main so that to improve performance. And I don't think there's really that big of a performance draw from having Olympus. I think it was like a knee jerk on my behalf, really honestly. I think it was oh my God, I think Olympus is really tasking our servers when in reality maybe it wasn't. But maybe it is, and maybe that's why the sandbox Sandbox is a 40-player server. Jonay, is the main a 60?
Yeah, it's a 60.
Yeah, and that could be why as well, because we're pushing it at 40 for the Sandbox. When we did, I think you guys had like 35 people in the last mission.
Yeah.
So that's
we were
close
pushing
to max. Yeah, pushing maximum density. And then even I bumped the RAM up on it. I even bumped the hard drive space up on it. And I just think that maybe I need to bump the RAM up again just to give us a little bit more leeway, just to get it going. But the Sandbox helps just because you have Olympus, and it helps us balance the mission. It helps the mission creators, right? If the air-to-air guys are flying and they're just bored out of their fucking minds, we can send 2, right? It's like Zeus in Arma. We can send 2 adversary aircraft against them and just kind of spice it up for them. We can also do it badly and put too much in. So it just helps. Anyways, I digress. So what I will do is I'll contact Luck in this next week, and I'm going to bump the RAM up on the Sandbox. I may bump it up to a tier as well, to the 60-player tier, and kind of put it on par with the main, just so we have 2 very equal servers. And then we'll see how that goes. Hopefully it'll.
I could always get Olympus added to the main if that would.
Yeah, I don't know. Do we want to try in that gamble again? Because if it is the problem, then right, and it's $10 more a month that you're saving by not doing it.
Yeah.
Well, it's a lot more to bump it up a tier and add more RAM and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. But again, that would be on the Sandbox, and that would be with Olympus. And so if Olympus is the problem in a 40-player mission, then we know, okay, we just can't use Olympus on large-scale missions. And then the mission builders just have to understand that and go, okay, I've got to put in, these other resources that I can use the trigger magic to activate if needed. So Olympus is just a really great, real convenient thing to have. So we're going to try the Sandbox again. I'm going to probably bump it up, and then we'll just try it again. And if not, again, we'll work going to the main and using the main for that reason. And then let's just keep Olympus off the main for now. That way, if it is the problem, we haven't screwed it up again. Cool.
I got a question about the timing though. Is there any kind of like time dependent task we got to do, or are we going to be able to Rolex if we do get behind schedule?
We can Rolex, but we got to Rolex from the beginning, right? So kind of the same thing applies to we've got a window of opportunity. We can Rolex from the very beginning. So that first break ground call. So the hammer time call is just for the helicopters. Right, once everybody is set and checked in, then Cowboy is going to they've got the first call, and that's the break ground call. And that is for themselves and for Check Joker to roll, or to essentially to start their mission. Right, so if we need to Rolex, we want to Rolex that break ground call.
I think as long as we can do that, then we're good. We did that in the last mission. We were all like late getting to CP Diamond. We just rolled 10 minutes and everything was good after that.
Okay, yeah, and that's totally doable. We can do that. Yeah, so not a problem there. So let's do 2-minute load times, and I'm going to edit this slide. So it'll show when everybody should be jumping into the server, but it'll be a server jump 2 minutes apart. So Hogs, Hercs, Vipers, Hornets, and Strike Eagles. And then if you guys have an argument where you think, all right, I think we might have more technical issues than most, or if you have more pilots, then maybe we front load you and have you load in first, so you have more time to work through that before your roll time. Make sense? And then, okay, so those are your taxi times. Everybody should be at their CP as quick as possible. We have you can see we've got a fairly finite time for getting to the CPs, but just like Jonah and I just discussed, the Rolex is totally up to everybody via the AWACS, right? So you'll just check in with Overlord or Focus, and just give the Rolex call, right? So on break ground, so once everybody's established and ready to go, Cowboy 1-1 is going to give the break ground call, and then Cowboy 1-1, Check and Joker are going to depart the CP to start their sweep and their CD mission on the SA-10. That's going to be the critical tasking for this whole thing to even work. 4 minutes after break ground, so you'll see right here, break ground +4, Lobo's going to push to establish their bar cap. And then it's between Lobo, if Cowboy can continue to assist, then Lobo and Cowboy can do yo-yo ops to keep that bar cap up. And we'll talk about where we're hoping to have that bar cap established throughout the duration of the mission. So the fighter sweep from Cowboy, we know there's going to be enemy fighters up. They are doing essentially bar cap of their own or cap of their own over that Tonopah area, the Tonopah test area. So we know we've routinely seen them every day. They're flying their MiG-29s out there for ship, and they're just capping that area, especially after the last strike, right? So that call is jackhammer. Once your sky is clear, you've splashed those 4 fighters, you can give that jackhammer call. And then once the SA-10 is down, that's backhoe. Once we get those 2 calls, that's when the next call can happen. And that does not make Lobo's mission contingent. So Lobo will push at break ground +4 regardless. Where the jackhammer and the backhoe call comes in is the next call for Foundation. So, and that's what we're talking about here. So Foundation is what's going to kick off everybody from CP Contractor. So CP Contractor's go condition 0435 or sooner, unless we have to Rolex. And you guys are this is actually backwards. I'm sorry, 0435 up here, 0445 down here. My apologies. I can change that. Whoops, go back. So these are reversed. I apologize. So once we get the jackhammer and backhoe call, then Strike Star will give the Foundation call, and everybody will begin, or everybody at CP Contractor will start initiating their missions. So once Foundation is given, Dude will push and conduct their SA-6, which is Bulldozer, at the Tonopah airfield. Foundation +4, Bucko will push and begin their SHORAD, which is Greater, at Tonopah Test. Once Greater has been established, so once Bucko gives the Greater sweep call, then T-Bone, Maniac, Gunslinger, and Saber can push and begin Excavator. And Excavator is killing all of those ground forces, right? All of the stuff that is still going on at the airfield. The armor, the infantry, the air assets, all of that stuff is Excavator. Once Excavator is given, or Excavator sweep, then Maui and Reach can push to drop their troops, which is Paver for Maui and Dump Truck for Reach. So once Paver is sweet and Dump Truck is sweet, then we know that we're just waiting for the ground forces to establish security. Should take them, we think, 10, 15, 20 minutes, depending on resistance and how good we've done our job at Excavator. And then once they've established that security, Strike Star, AWACS will give the Miller time call, and then everybody retrogrades back behind the flot, and then bar cap will be the last out of the flop, whoever's on bar cap at that point between Cowboy and Lobo. These are our flight levels at the CPs. Once you've left the CP, your flight levels may change. Just make sure that, depending on who you're working with, that you coordinate that flight level change and that you've got eyes on so that we're not having any mid-airs. But these are our flight level blocks for the CPs. I know it was kind of confusing, but we'll get into there's another slide going over the what needs to happen before the next thing can happen. But what questions do you guys have on this?
Okay, so I think my only thing is, depending on what bombs we have, flight
Mhm.
level 280 is a bit high. I'd rather be
Okay.
at 220 if possible.
Yeah.
Or yeah, something like in between that 200 and 240.
Gotcha. Yeah, and remember, this is just at the CP. Once you depart the CP, adjust your flight level. So you're going to be at.
Yeah,
Go
but
ahead.
when we're up that high with so many bombs and we carry so much gas, we are
Okay.
literally almost in burner just trying to stay in the air.
Okay. So what are you wanting?
220.
220. Okay. Cool. I can make that happen.
Thanks.
Yep. No problem. Whoops.
You have a distance from Dallas to the objective?
I do, and I'll go over that here in a second. I can't do it in this because it's a slideshow, but we're gonna. As a matter of fact, let me start that right now. Boot up DCS. Slideshow. Okay. Cool. Can everybody still see this? Yep. Okay, cool. What other questions do we have about timing, altitude blocks, CPs? Cool. All right. Changing. All right, here's our regional threat picture. So small arms, obviously certain. Unguided AAA below 12,000 is certain. We know the airfield's got ZSU 27s. Unguided above 12,000, there's a high possibility. We think in the region they've got KS-19s and stuff that are out there, so we've got to be cognizant of that. We just can't fly willy-nilly. Make sure you're doing all your checks and you're looking for those threats. Man pads are certain. We know the airfield's the infantry battalion that is there has man pads, so we need to be cognizant of that. SA-9s, 13s, and 19s are certain as well at the airfield and in the surrounding areas. SA-8s and SA-7s are possible. Haven't seen them in ISR, but we know they've got them. We just don't know if they're staged at this airfield. And then SA-15s and SA-22s. SA-15s are certain. We know of one SA-15 on ISR. That's at the SA-10 site. We'll show you pictures of it here in a minute. But there is an SA-15 that is in air protect mode, so it will have to be dealt with as well. And so, again, we'll have to go over that. So the IADS is SA-10 and SA-6s. We've got the SA-10 off in the distance, and then the SA-6 at the airfield. Again, pictures to follow. And then there's an SA-6 down south, which we showed on the routing picture. That's at the other Pahut Mesa airfield. Should not be a factor unless somebody gets off course and starts flying down there. Drones, low possibility. Not seeing drones as an issue. Rotary wing, possible. It's an airfield. I would say it's more probable than possible, but they're in and out all the time. They're just in and out a lot. So I would anticipate there's going to be some rotary wing there. Su-27s are certain. That is either airborne threat or a alert threat at Tonopah Test, as well as Tonopah, its neighboring airfield. They operate out of both fields, and that would be where the most likely response from the ground would be at that Tonopah airfield. So we've got to keep eyes on that. And then MiG-29s, certain as well. They are flying. They are active. They're doing active cap, as well as they are on the ground ready to go. And that's what is said here. We have air parity, so it's kind of an even number. Even though our training and equipment is a little bit better than theirs, they still have radar guided stuff. They've got heaters, so just understand that they are a viable air-to-air threat. Questions about this slide? Cool. Moving on. All right. Here is our known threat picture. So again, SA-6 at Pahut Mesa should be no factor unless somebody really gets off course. SA-6 at Tonopah Test Range, that is our dude's primary target. These are your DIMPs for that SA-6. You've got the, what is that, a straight flush, and then all of the tells. And we've got to kill all 5 of these targets to be effective on that deed strike. SA10, these are your dimpies in MGRS. I can give you lat long if you would prefer lat long. But you've got your flap lid, your clamshell, your big boy, and then their C2 truck, lower priority, but it'd still be good to kill it. And then the SA15 M2 that they've got up there as well. That's their self-protect. As far as we know, via ISR, that is their sole self-protect piece of equipment. Questions about threat picture. This is just what's known, guys. There's all kinds of unknown SHORAD in the AO. Cool. All right, moving on. Here's our mission start, 0400. If we need to push it back due to whatever technical issues or whatever, let me know, and then we will push it back. Altimeter 2987. Sunrise is at 4:51. Sunset, we shouldn't be a factor. We should all be landing in the sunlight. So we'll be taking off in darkness, landing in sunlight. Temperature should be 70. That's our high for the day. So I would anticipate at mission time it's going to be in the low 60s, high 50s for takeoff time. Cloud layer at 10,000 is broken. So there are clouds at 10,000. At 20 to 22, I'm sorry, that's a screw up on me. 20 to 22 are scattered clouds, and then visibility is 10 plus. Mild turbulence, winds on the ground are 8 at 180, and then I think gusting to 15 at altitude. So not a lot of wind, not a lot of turbulence. Questions about the weather? On standard comms, we're not diverting at all from our comms frequencies. Ramrod is hockey star, letter of the day Y, number of the day 21, and word of the day is snap for any Ramrod or comms issues. Code words, again, going over those. So hammer time, that's a strike star call for the helos to push and pre-stage and establish their ISR positions. Break ground is a cowboy call. That is for check Joker to commence their seed deed on backhoe. And they will push with Cowboy, who will be conducting that fighter sweep. And I would say just stay either with Cowboy or just behind Cowboy as they conduct their sweep. That way, if you've got an Alamo, you can Alamo. And that will be the jackhammer call. Once that sweep is complete, just give the jackhammer call. At break ground +4, Lobo's going to push to establish their bar cap. Once backhoe and jackhammer are sweet, Strike Star will give the foundation call, and that will be the indication for Dude to push first for their seed deed on the SA6, which is Bulldozer. And then at +4, Bucko's going to push to commence their SHORAD BAI, and that is Greater. Once Greater and Bulldozer are complete, then Bucko will give the Greater call, and T-Bone, Maniac, Gunslinger, Saber can all push and start the onslaught of just wiping out everything on the ground at the objective. Once Excavator is complete, that is a T-Bone call. And by complete, I mean that it is so degraded that you feel that the helos, that the Chinooks and the C-130s can get in fairly uncontested. And what I mean by fairly uncontested, right, is, I don't know. They get shot at a little bit, I guess. But that is T-Bone's call. So that's a pretty critical call. Maui and Reach can then push to conduct Paver for Maui. That's the Special Forces infill. And Dump Truck, which is either the Carp drop or the hot infill on the ground from Reach. And then once that is complete and our ground forces have established security, again, Miller time will be given by Strike Star, and that's our RTB call. Any questions about this slide? And I'm going to post all of this for you guys to pick through and pull and make all your knee boards from. So it'll be posted tonight after the briefing. Cool. Next slide. This is just the comms flow from Nellis or the FARP. Transit control will be Alleycat on channel 4. And then all flights except for the first reg will go from Alleycat to Focus. First Reg, you will go direct to J-Stars, and you will stay on Strike Star for the entirety of the mission. Everybody else will flow from transit to AWACS, check in with focus. Once the break ground call is given, everybody at CP contractor is going to switch to Strike Star, and then check in on Strike Star, awaiting the next call, the Foundation call. Once the Foundation call is given, then you guys can start commencing your missions as well. Any questions about the comms flow? It's the same as the last mission, just the players change a little bit.
Point of clarity on that one, just to make sure, when the call's made and everyone at that's switching over to Strike Star pushes, they're not getting pushed by the AWACS, right? The call is the call to push.
You got it. The call is, once break ground is given by Cowboy, everybody that needs to switch to J-Stars is going to switch. Lobo, Cowboy will stay on AWACS because they're going to need that line of communication. So they're going to have the clearest channel, right? Because it's just going to be the two of them and the AWACS, and that's it. So everybody else is going to be on that Strike Star channel to coordinate the bulk of this mission. So again, like Judy, like stay, if you don't have to be on the radio, try to stay off the radio and be as brief as possible on the radio. I'm one to talk, right? I'm the biggest mouth in the wing, so. Anything else on this? But yes, once the break ground call is given by Cowboy, that's when the switch is made. We don't wait for Strike Star or Focus to push. Cool. Right. Airfield and restrictions, same as last mission. So 03 left for departure. Anticipate the Dream departure from Juno. Essentially depart, go to Juno, get to 17,000, and then go to Dream, and then from Dream to your CP, and then establish your orbits. And then we'll talk about the arrivals, but expect 03 left for departure. And I say expect it because who knows? Controller might get on and make some changes. And then all aircraft will arrive on 03 left for the Sin City visual, overhead brake landing, or again, if you want to work the VFR, you can work 21 left for the VFR approach. And then all of those points are in. We'll talk about actually on the next slide. So you've got Juno, Mint, and Dream already in. You can just plop it up. You've also got Atalf and Harem are in your computers as well. And then for the Sin City, you've got Hazel and Onday. And then, so for your departures, they're in the system. I don't know how everybody else pulls them up. I know how the Hogs pull it up. And then Hazel and Onday are in the system for your arrivals. Questions about departures or arrivals? Okay. This is our SA-10 site. This is our intel slide for the SA-10 site. This is Check and Joker. So you've got your radar dishes. 1, 2, and 3 are your primary targets. You've got the command vehicle here. This is your SA-15 here. I can label them if you like. I should have done that. I apologize. And then your tells, which are the lowest priority, and their reloads are off to the north and south. But this is what your SA-10 site looks like from the air. Any questions on this?
Nope, we're good.
All right. This is the SA-6 site at the Tonopah Test Airfield. And again, we've got the radar dish in the center, and then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 tells that all have to be destroyed. Tertiary vehicles, not a big deal. And then again, your indication for north. These roadways are a great way to see where this is, because they're not at the airfield. They're like up here to this north. This is our HLZ for our Chinooks. Note that there, at the time of this photo, there was a Shilka parked right on the tarmac just outside of the HLZ. So that is, if still there, we need to put eyes on it and put a missile on it. And then we've got power lines running. They're not the high tension ones. They're kind of the lower power lines. Should be no factor. But the fact that this might be a night infill is going to be good to note that we've got these power lines here. These are our C2 buildings. So this is what our Rangers are going to be assaulting, is this. And then there's a tower to the south that some will break off and go assault as well. So this is our the best central HLZ for our Chinooks. Any questions about this? Cool.
Not the
And
LZ. No.
what's that?
Not about the LZ specific. I mean, do you have a zoomed out picture of this place? Just kinda-
I don't. I can get you one though.
No, I mean we'll take a look eventually. It's fine.
Yeah. So our runways are over here to the left. So, but I'll get a better photo for you guys and put it in the briefing. Understand that we're using, for the logistics guys, we're using CTLD for this. So you can drop them anywhere, but this is the preferred area just because we've already got eyes on it. So other areas, we don't know exactly, how this is good for the Rangers, essentially. It's going to give them central access to the C2 building and central access to the tower to the south. So anyways, but it again, if we need to make a hot change while en route because of contact, then that's up to the pilots. Like the priority is safely getting troops on the ground. This is our desired sweep, but it's not mandatory, and the reason the sweep stays up here to the north is hopefully we can draw the fighters to you because you're going to be the first ones crossing for your sweep. And then our bar cap, we're hoping to have a bar cap here again once the SA6 is down. So that's the desire. Cowboy, Lobo, you guys adjust as needed as long as we get the protection we need for the rest of the mission. Comments, concerns, or changes to this before we move on?
No, I don't see anything particularly of an issue with this. It should be fine.
Okay. All right. Okay. Again, respawns are permitted as long as it happened within the first 30 minutes. Doesn't matter how. You ball it up on takeoff, air to air. Doesn't matter. If it's within the first 30 minutes, get back in an aircraft, get back up in the air and help out with the mission. ATC may or may not be active depending on what we get. So I will be there. I will be Strike Star primarily. Hopefully we can get AWACS support. I don't know, is anybody from the 964th here for the brief? All right, so I'll put a message out to them. Hopefully we can get signups from them and get, like, you guys had 3, right? The first mission. It's fantastic. And then after 30 minutes, no respawns. Remember to set your multiplayer name before you get into the MIZ with flight and call sign information. So this is the example, Dude 11 chatter. So should look similar to this, not exactly like that. But that is it, guys. That's all I have. Discussion items or questions, or I can go back to slides, and I'm going to bring up TCS right now so that we can get into the MIZ.
I'm probably gonna head out, but real fast, if we have leftover bombs, because I mean, if we get 2 or 3 or 4 jets, that SA6 it really isn't that big of a target. So
okay.
Do you want us to stay and hit targets at the airport after that, or?
Absolutely. So what we'll do is I'm going to have this is probably a 75th mission. I think the AMC should be somebody from the Hogs, just because the type of mission it is and the coordination between ground and air. So I will. Is there anybody right now in the 75th that wants to step up and take AMC or FAC A?
I can grab a karma.
Are you sure? All right.
Yep.
FOD is AMC, and as well FAC A. So FOD will be your point of contact as Bucko 11 for FAC A for taskings. So if you're still on station and you got a truckload of bombs, check in with Bucko 11, and they'll give you tasking. Cool. There's going to be a lot of targets, guys. It's going to be it's a battalion of armor, right? Mech armor down there. So they're going to have tanks. They're going to have BTRs, BMPs. It is a pretty, I don't want to say heavily defended, because from the air, it's not that hard. There are SHORAD down there, but it's not an overwhelming amount of SHORAD. It's just it's a lot of ground targets, armor and infantry. So, yeah. So I'm sure there will be targets for your bombs.
Yep, sounds good.
What else? Right, mission editor right now, guys.
Are you ready for the barrage of first reg questions yet?
I am. Fire away.
All right. So can we go back to the first map? I guess the routing map.
Okay.
So I saw something on there. I just want to clarify what that was.
Okay.
So, yeah. So you got the LZ, and then on the outside of the SA-10 Wes, you have an accumulation of Red 4.
Yeah.
To the
So
east.
that's a known FARP.
Okay.
So that's a known enemy FARP, very lightly defended.
Lightly defended. Is there surface to air threats around that FARP?
I would absolutely anticipate it. Yes.
Okay.
So this is what we know is at the FARP right now.
Okay.
So right now we know that they've got supply trucks, and other Logi assets, but that's where the FARP is right there. Oh, hold on. Sorry, you're not seeing what I'm showing. Gotta change my screen.
Can you tell me what the distance is if I were to ingress maybe just north of that FARP?
Are you guys seeing DCS now? The mission editor?
No, just a
Still
stream
paused.
pause.
Still paused.
Discord's been weird with streaming DCS lately. I've been seeing this from guys who've been trying to stream, for me to show me what they've been seeing, if they're having a problem in the cockpit. Yeah, Flameout, I think, said you have to close out Discord, come back in.
Oh, you're kidding.
Well,
okay.
While you still have DCS up.
Okay, I'll do that. I'm going to do that right now, guys. I apologize, but I want to show you guys DCS. It's a much more live and better picture, and then we can do some routing stuff as well. So stand by. Be right back.
I feel like it's just been a problem the last couple weeks or something, like the last update. I don't think it's... Never noticed this until just recently.
I've never really had a problem with it, but I also just share my whole screen. I don't go by app, so.
Yeah, same here. maybe that's a good fix for it too.
Oh, there we go.
Welcome back. Yeah, it's good now.
Okay, good. Okay, so we've got, again, here's Dallas. Here's our objective.
Yep.
And here's that little FARP that we know about, right?
So from where the text says EC East
Mm-hmm.
into the LZ, what's the distance there?
Distance here to LC is
It doesn't need to be. Yeah.
20 miles. 20 miles ish.
20. Okay.
Yeah, 20.
Okay.
And then from FARP to EC East is 20.
Yeah.
So if you make that little dog leg.
Yeah. We'll check it out. I need to, look at the topography of that little ridge and all that.
Yeah, I'm going to give you guys a clean MIS tonight as well. So I'm going to drop the briefing and a clean MIS. It'll have permanent assets. So you're going to have the SA-10 site in there. You're going to have the SA-6 site in there. You're going to have the permanent assets that are at the airfield. So any structures or anything like that. And then you're going to have that FARP with those permanent assets will be there. But everything else is clean out of the MIS. So you can
Okay.
work on routing and timing.
I got a question for 41st. Because when we're thinking about cherry and ice calls for the LZ, what would you consider ice? Because it's kind of whatever you think ice is, right? So
True.
what would that be?
Kato. Nope.
Hey, it's back up. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. What's that? What's the threat on the LZ there itself?
Yeah, so we are looking. Here's an SA6 site. That's the one that Dude is going to be shacking for everybody.
Okay.
It's the biggest threat that we have in the AO. But there will be, we know, armored patrols, medium, heavy armor throughout the perimeter, AAA, ZSU 23s primarily, as well as Cords, Dishkas, all kind of in this general area around the airfield.
All right, and then for us, where I don't see a defined DZ for us. I heard you say something. Pardon me, I came in a little bit late, but I heard you guys talk about a potential for either a landing to an LZ or a drop to a DZ. What's defining that?
It's up to you guys are. If you think, no, this is way too risky to do landing hot infill, we'd rather do a carp, then we do it. You just got to be, we need vehicles, so we can't just have troops. We need, some type of medium, whatever that might be. Medium armor, what's the heaviest you could carry?
Okay, copy that. We'll come up with a game plan on that.
Yeah.
And was that first Reg who was asking that question? Sorry, I don't have the names up.
Yeah,
on
just,
It is.
if we can get to a unified, because I get the feeling your tolerance is going to be lower than ours because we can just scoot if we need to.
Yeah, it's so just kind of spitballing at what I'm seeing here. We definitely need the SA6 to be down, and then we're gonna need if you guys get eyes on some of the AAA threat and any man pads, anything like that in that area, we're gonna need a lot of that cleared as well. And the other thing that's gonna drive that for us, and we can discuss this a little bit or later on as well, but is going to be what is our acceptable level of risk. And I don't know if that's something that you guys brief on these red flag missions, but the ALR is going to drive a lot of what I need for an ice or cherry call.
It's a good point. We should establish an ALR.
That said, definitely the SA6, probably whatever's covering that FARP, and then I'll get with Kato and Empty, and we'll come up with a what we think is a best course of action for a DZ. And then, because I just looking at this, and then you say that there's a battalion on the ground there, without having like constant cap over top of us, it's probably going to be a pretty bad idea to land there. So we'll probably come in and do a drop, and then just get as much stuff out as we can.
Yeah, I agree with that.
What's the consensus?
Does the drop have to be right on the airfield, or?
Yes, I mean, as close as possible. What are you thinking? Are you thinking of like doing it on the outskirts and requiring the ground forces to push in?
Depending on the terrain, it might make more sense to go parallel with the runway, either on the east or the west side of it, and then just have, not far, maybe just a couple miles, but it would get them out of the small arms bubble, if you will, Looks like it's
Yeah,
flatter.
because if that's the case, I'm not quite as worried about man pads versus, any shore ad threats over there.
you got a dry lake bed off there to the east. It makes a lot of sense. I'd be worried about what might be out there to the east, but we can make sure we wipe that. But you know, if it's within 5 miles, maybe 5 miles on the dot, maybe 4 miles, they can push in from there. Yeah. Kind of just drop it parallel with the runway and then let them fan out and push.
Yeah. True. Here's a. Is that 9-10 miles? Is this old dirt strip? Oh no, it's an asphalt strip.
Yeah, it's the Milan LZ.
Yeah. But that's 10 miles. They'll have to fight their way in. Well, they'll have to fight their way in regardless. 5 miles.
I mean, I don't really know what the
Well-
tactic is for Rangers being inserted into this.
They need to be here. They're light. They're essentially need to be close so that they can get there very
How about
quickly,
this?
right?
So, can the C-130s drop at that Lambda field, and then the hooks do small ferries from there to the LZ?
I mean,
We've been practicing landing there.
anything's doable, right? I mean, you got this
So it's a
here.
lightly defended FARP.
Yeah, this is fairly lightly defended FARP. You've got this field. Who knows? Probably unattended at totally, right? We hope. There's just no ISR on it right now, so we have no idea what's going on here.
But we do have an abundance of A-10s and F-15.
Absolutely. They can go in and just lay waste to this, and that would definitely be a surprise. It's just, and then do, like you're saying, ferry. What about the armor though?
I think
Armor
so.
push from
This
here?
isn't. I'm not saying this is like a cure-all,
Yeah.
but it's to the extent that we're just trying to punch a hole in a sector, right?
Yeah.
Then the hooks are going to be able to come in lower, right? And there's still a smaller target than a 130, right?
Absolutely.
They can mask a little better.
True.
Where are the Apaches in this scenario? Are they pushing in with the hooks initially, or would they be able to secure the DZ if it was the dry lake bed, just to get a little bit closer? That 10-mile hike is not a short trip, considering we don't know what's over there, you know?
Yeah.
Wherever you need us, really.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's up to, I mean, that's between the Chinooks and the Apaches, right? I mean, Chinooks are probably going to want some type of close-in escort.
Yeah.
Hogs and First Reg we're tasked with killing all the air threats, right?
So Bucko's job is all SHORAD, all identifiable SHORAD, right? Everything that they can see, whatever it is, you know, SA-19s or SA-13s, whatever. And then T-Bone's job is, try to recall my memory. T-Bone is working all ground, I believe, or air, and then Maniac is all ground. But it doesn't mean you're exclusive. It just means that's your priority. Your priority is, you know, blow up any jets that are in these hangars if you're that flight. The priority for Bucko is blow up all the SHORAD and AAA if you can. And then the priority for Maniac is to kill every ground threat that they can see, right? That's the priority. But it doesn't mean, like, if I see a tank and I'm Bucko, I'm not going to shoot it. It just means that's lower on my priority list.
What I'm hearing is the that airfield is still the X. It's just Lambda can be a Y if we need to, but maybe we should just keep planning for the X for now.
Yeah, we need the first Rangers here. After that, it's up for debate with you guys. And again, I'm not the end all know all of operations on how, or, you know, is it too dangerous for C-130s to come in and do a ground infill? Do we want to do a carp? And if we do a carp, do we do it out here and then, require the ground forces to push in to the objective? It'd be nice to have them on the airfield. That would be a very fast for us. They don't have to, potentially fight their way in. They'll be in, and then they can just set up their defenses, and people have to come to them, essentially, if they're whatever's left, after the Strike Eagles kill every.
All right, hey, I've got a stupid question.
Okay.
'Cause I'm not a C-130 pilot.
Dude, there are no stupid questions, just stupid people that ask them.
Yeah. Well, I'm a stupid person. All right. So when you guys I guess this would be more like simulating real life, right? Because in DCS, as soon as the tank hits the ground, it's gonna be ready to roll. But in real life, isn't there some setup once it gets dropped?
Yes, there's a lot of setup. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
so the army typically when we drop the 82nd or the 101st, they want what's called a scatter plan. And so when we drop the airborne, they want vehicles in a certain spot, certain regiments in it, or but wait, whatever, but the battalion in a certain spot. They have a very specific way that they want everything scattered, so that then it's less setup time for them when they're on the ground. So essentially, they'll set up a defensive posture around wherever we drop them, and then they'll continue in from there. So it's not like a drop and go type of thing, no matter where we take them. And so this is very much an airborne type of situation. Like this is what they do. However, that's why I'm kind of nixing the landing at this location, just because it's not typically in our wheelhouse for things that we do unless we have a very specific reason to do it. But with the Rangers there, I would argue to drop them closer rather than further away. However, what I would call, I think the question from the first reg was what's your recommend, or what do I need for a DZ ice? And that's going to be the SA6 to be gone, and then I would consider at least upwards of 75% of the rest of those threats, as far as AAA and other just threats in the area that are active for us, to be taken out. Because other than that, we're just basically going to be getting shot down, and it kind of turns into a useless. We're just wasting metal at that point.
Yep.
Why don't we plan on using that assault strip to the south as like a contingency? If we don't achieve that 75% degradation of the enemy at the airfield, then we just revert to doing a landing at that field and drop the assets there and get out.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad idea at all. Even if we don't, because looking at that terrain there, it's going to take forever. How long is that runway?
This one here?
Yeah.
Empty made like the whole LZ for this. So
it depends on how many hercs we end up with, because if we end up with too many hercs, it's going to take forever to get. Yeah, looking at the link there, we might be able to get 2 hercs down at a time. So if we have too many of us, it's probably going to be a better option to even have that as a secondary DZ versus an LZ.
Where would you want primary DZ to be? If this is
the primary DZ would. Yeah, that would be secondary. Primary being right in that lake bed off to the east side there.
Right here.
I would aim for 4 miles. You're outside the Wes bubble, then the hogs can sufficiently support, right? And to that same point, I totally agree with the contingency down south, but I think the more we spread this out, the more could go wrong with the support as well, right? So
correct, yeah.
It makes a lot of sense to put the best punch we can in on the airfield and get the assets all close to the airfield, so it's a smaller bubble to defend, right?
Absolutely. The closer the better.
So
I 100% agree.
So I'm thinking, Karma, if you're cool with it, I might take Maniac and split off a 2-ship for Misty if we're going to do FAC A, and there's a lot of moving parts. I think it might make sense to just have someone burning holes in the sky, trying to coordinate and track all of this too, right? Unless
So
Strike
Bucko
Star's
is a
fully
2.
up.
Bucko is a 2.
No, I would split.
And Misty is a
Maniac.
2?
I would
Oh,
put
Maniac.
I would put Bucko as just straight deed on the airfield. I would put T-Bone in as AI, and then Maniac as a 2-ship AI, and Misty as a 2-ship FAC.
Misty. Okay. Misty FAC A.
And your AMC would be Misty 1-1, not Bucko 1-1.
Okay. Got it. And you're taking Misty 1-1?
Yep.
Okay. Cool. All right. I will make that happen.
And that allows us to have, I don't think First Red should even have to deal with that FARP. I think T-Bone should probably hit that on the way in to make sure it's clear. That way, First Red has everything that they need to get that airfield done and clear. Because here's the other factor I'm looking at with the Hogs. You have a 10,000-foot broken layer with the sun coming up behind us. It's going to play hell with the pods. And we don't know what the shore-out picture looks like outside the airfield between the flot and the airfield, right? So for us to get low is going to be stupid dangerous in this case, and then to get high out of that bubble, we're going to have major visibility limitations with that broken layer. So I think it's going to be very critical for First Dredge's pointy sticks to get in there and make sure that we're cleansed. We're going to do the best that we can from up high, but we're going to have a hard time.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, the weather is going to play kind of havoc on the BAI stuff.
Fod, question for you.
Yep.
If you're going to have that, the Misty, the FAC A, could you orbit a little further out and buddy lays for people? If, like, say us, for example, or even your guys?
I'll tentatively say yes. I mean, that would be part of the mission set. It's going to really depend on this cloud layer, man. The ground's at 4,000 to 6,000 there with clouds at 10. That's going to suck. It's going to be hard.
Yeah, that's true.
Cool. I like the discussion. What else?
Let's talk about ingress for the C-130s then.
Okay.
Should we go in from the same direction that the first reg is?
So your CP contractor here, we can bump you to CP general. Remember, so you've got, now let's talk about this. So you guys are going to depart Juno Dream, and then you've got this Alamo airstrip, which is a dirt airstrip, which the ground 82nd Airborne has set up as a landing strip for you. So you've got some markers, some VS-17 panel markers, and then you've got some runway markers that they put at the arrival end and at the departure end, because it's really hard to see this in the darkness, and it's really hard to see it, period. So the idea is to come in, land, touch down, and then essentially taxi off. There's some VS-17 panels marking this little taxiway. Taxi off, come here onto this, again, improvised taxiway, load up your troops and your vehicles with whatever you can, right? And we'll talk about what you can carry, and then taxi back on, turn, and depart, and then come back up to, so you've got work to do before work begins, and then get up to CP contractor and hang out for the go call. So we can bump you to general, and then that's closer to Dallas, and you can kind of follow them in, or you can work here and follow the Hogs in and come into your DZs from this direction. Up to you guys.
Yeah, just a
Backup.
quick spitball on that. I think we're going to be better off coming with the Hogs and then coming up from the south with an immediate east escape and then back into or out of that area. Yep. So then coming right up to the DZ, and then we'll play with the distances as we need to, but then it'll basically be an immediate right turn to the east to get out of there. And then you trying to utilize that terrain if we need it.
I was going to say back up. Are you going to come in low or are you going to come in high? Up
Probably
to
going to look to come in low on this one, just given the weather. I'm probably, given that I'm coming in cold on this, it's kind of a kind of just a wag here on where we're at. But given the situation and just kind of the threats in the area, the potential with weather, we're probably gonna look to come in low as a formation and then do our drop and then punch out, and then we'll stay low until we get to probably past that terrain, and then we'll pop up.
I want to make a recommendation then, if you're cool with it. So first ridge, I would assume, is going direct to the airfield from their farm, right? More or less. I would suggest that you leave the CP and make your first waypoint the FARP, and then follow their ingress path in if you're going low level. And then
take an opposite direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So we'll share a route, but it's not. I want to be closer to the airport, because if I go direct from that waypoint up north, then I'm spending more time underneath the SA-10 Wes. So therefore, it takes me longer until I can push. Right.
And you plan on coming here?
I'm gonna get to the edge of the Wes, and then I'm gonna go south to EC East.
You have a hell of a terrain feature there, though. Those are some real nice.
Yeah, that 10 won't see us behind those hills, right?
No, yeah.
No, yeah. This is 7. These are 7,000 to 8,000 foot mountains.
Yeah, but they look taller based on the snow caps up north and then south. So that's why.
Yeah.
Plus, once it's down, I got a lower trip in if I'm further south.
Okay. Oh, the only thing I would ask is that the C-130s fully have your ingress route, so that they can make sure they're as safe as they can be coming in. That's all.
Yeah, because it's already flown territory, right? So it's safe.
Well, they're not going to be landing exactly. They still have to turn and land on that airfield, right? Or how are they going to be oriented when they land on that lake bed?
I think they're coming in north to south, dropping 4 miles east of the lake bed, more or less that spot there, right?
So they're gonna come in north of that range then, so where those white caps are.
Yeah, let me ask you that SA-10 that's up there to the north. We're gonna be inside of that detection range. They got a lot of terrain in between us and them, so I think if we stay low, we're gonna be fine if we come in from the north.
Now remember, guys, Check and Joker, this is their mission.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
You guys aren't even going. Well, first reg, that's not true, but C-130s aren't even going until that's down.
We don't go. Yeah, we don't get the go call if this doesn't get put down. So if this doesn't get
and that
put
makes
down,
me feel a lot better about the north. I would even venture to say that we would probably continue further. So you see where those white caps are at? We're basically going to want to wrap around that. The reason I say that is as we come off, the only way to make that DZ work coming in this way is if we then overfly the airfield. And I'd prefer not to overfly the airfield if we don't have to.
Well, I can't clear that for you unless I go that route too. So I guess, Ripple, we need to look and make sure we're going to be masked by that 10. If that's true, then we need to cut to the north instead of to the south, like I've been saying.
yeah. So first reg, you are potentially in this Wes when that 10 is up, right? Because you're going to get that hammer time call fucking immediately. As soon as you guys are ready to go, you're going to get the hammer time call. And so your routing is Sans Cap and Sans Deed on the SA-10.
Right.
So,
yeah. That's why I was trying to stay out of it by going south. But if that's going to help the C-130's route, if I'm not clearing anything for them by going that route, they can't make it over that mountain to make it in that lake bed, then it's not serving a holistic purpose. Okay. I'm getting in that.
Are you thinking more here, this northerly, behind the white caps?
I think we have to. For now, basically, what is that, waypoint 8 that you have for some other asset?
Yeah, this is the so C-130s tentatively are...
And that's our waypoint.
Contractor, over you, and then down 8, 9, 10 to drop, 11 to secondary, and then 12 is essentially get the hell out of Dodge.
I think you just mapped out waypoints 1 through 4 for us, right? And then 5 we'll put something else. But yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. Hey,
And then what? Just
sorry.
Yep. No, I was just saying. And what a hold? You want to hold like here at 1, or do you want a hold at 2 if you can sneak in? Maybe try to get to 2.
I don't want to hold at all, but if I have to, it will be.
You might not have to, depending on the speed of Cowboy, right? Cowboy and Check and Lobo. If again, the hammer time call is immediate, but it's not imperative that you guys push. It's just a nice buffer for everybody else to have, especially the C-130s, to know that okay, the Apaches the Helos have already flown this way, right? And they're right. The path is for the most part safe. And then your Chinooks can follow the same flight path as the C-130s to do their Helo LZ to their, you know what I mean, their infill. They can come in from the north as well, go straight to their LZ, do their drop, and then fly out south and east. You know, kind of the same, like you said, the same routing.
Yep.
Karma, can you add a contingency if First Ridge does get held up, can't push, schwacked by cap, whatever it might be? We can also throw a 2-ship of the A-10s that route ahead of the 130s to clear it too.
Who would that be?
TBD. But that would just be a call stream.
Yeah.
You know, if First Ridge is held up for whatever reason, then we can push A-10s.
Okay. Same routing up to Farp Dallas. Just follow the C-130 routing.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yep, I can do that.
Hey, C-130 guys. How about we actually switch altitude blocks then? Because if you're going to be dropping and getting lower, we tend to stay in our block, and we can still use GBUs from like 24 to 25. That if you're going to be dropping lower anyway, it might make sense for you to just be lower on the block. And
Yeah, that's fine because we tend to transit through altitudes quite a bit. So the more that we're not cutting through other flights, the better, because we don't have TCAS in DCS, so it's hard to keep up with where everybody's at.
yeah, so Karma, could we make the dudes block 24 to 25, and then they can just go lower than us.
Do 24 to 25?
Yeah. Because after 25, our GBUs don't work anymore. But we don't really tend to go we don't really unless we're doing like a low level or something like that. We're not really gonna stay out of it. We're gonna get back to our block and stay there. So
yeah. All right, 24, 25, but you'll be trespassing with reach. So they're at 24, 25 as well. That's good. And
yeah,
you guys are both.
And they're going north, and we're coming basically straight in. So
okay.
Recommendation as well, if just to maximize the pressure on the airfield, if we do get good targets, First Ridge can call or the FAC-A can call, right? But maybe we have you guys, after you're complete, establish high and maybe like, I don't know, 15, 20 miles to the east. And we can just pass you cords if we have valid targets.
Yeah, we can do that. Probably, I was thinking GBUs for it though, because it's easier to do like targets of opportunity with lasers than JDAMs.
They can be, but it's going to depend on how chaotic things are down there. Plus that cloud layer. But if we could pass you cords and you just go bomb on coordinate, like within like a 5-minute window, would be awesome.
Yeah, we can do that too. We can just take a bunch of fucking JDAMs and just drop them. We'll take 54s or something.
Okay.
Do you want? Yeah, that'd be even better because you can do either or. Would it work? Like, how many? So let's say Misty has got multiple targets. Can they feed you 5 and you can do 1 pass and drop 5 and then haul ass?
We can do that.
For you guys?
It really is going to depend on how many jets we have, right? Like, you could one jet do that, yeah, but if it's only, say, me and another jet and we double shack the SA-6, then we're probably going to have like 3 or 4 bombs on each jet left. So, I mean, we might be limited, but if we have 4 planes, dude, we're gonna have so many bombs. It's not even funny.
Yeah, no, but that's, I mean, it's a good thing. It's just we have a lot of moving parts on this mission, and
Yeah, absolutely.
The more contingencies and options that we have, the better here. You know, like,
Yo.
if I'm having you drop bombs directly on the airfield, that means there's a lot of helmet fire and bad things going on. You know, if I got targets that are outside that make more sense, I'm going to prioritize you guys for those. But
Yeah, I just worry that if I just take JDAMs, if it's like there's a moving target or something, it's harder to hit, you know?
Yeah, no, I hear you. But with the cloud layer too, it's just
With the
it's
54,
going to be tough. 54 is the best route.
Yeah,
54s. Yeah, we'll take 54s.
And they're open. Anticipate this for Misty, so and everybody else doing potentially close air support or working with FAC-A. The HLZ is your perfect echo. So just understand that for IPs. So if you're going to establish your IPs, just work off the HLZ. You know what I mean? It makes it easy. And you've got your IPs.
Makes sense.
Cool. All right. What else?
With the 130s coming in from the north, do you want to push them to the north CP or have them stay in the stack with contractors?
C-130s? What you want?
Yeah, we can push up to general. That'll make a lot more sense for us.
Okay.
Also simplifies the stack at contractor because you don't have the strikes and the 130s trying to do the same block.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, that is true.
How far is it from that range at EC East to the SA6?
From this here?
20 miles.
No, where's the SA6?
From SA6 to where? EC East?
Range? To the range, the
just the border? 15 miles.
Okay, yeah,
16 miles. Yes.
Alright, I'm just trying to figure out how we're going to hit that thing.
Yeah, here's its WES right here.
Yeah, I see it. And there's no terrain.
Yeah, except for up here.
Yeah, but it's too far away.
Yeah.
I can't like pop over it and get bombs off before it even sees me.
Yeah, what's your plan for the sticks?
Don't know yet.
Oh shit! Wonderful.
Probably use this terrain on the back side of the airport here.
This here?
We'll probably use that. Okay. At least it's something. How tall is that there?
This is 66.
And what's
the peak? 69, and ground is 48.
Oh, okay. Then we'll probably just come in behind that, and that should be fine.
Yeah, that's like what, 6 miles?
Yeah,
about 7 miles to the.
So for the fighter sweep and cap guys, for contracts for the CD flights, while you guys are hitting these targets, the 6 and the 10, how do you want to rack and stack priority with the air threats? So we'll probably be, either side by side or somewhat in front to clear out the air threats and let you guys kind of have at it. But depending on the amount of air threats in the area and how long it takes us to dispatch them, did you guys want to seed and deed these targets while we take care of the air threat simultaneously, or let us handle the threats and then call you guys all clear?
I'd say, yeah, handle the threats first. I think the intel sounds pretty solid that there should be 4 MiG-29s or something out there. So at least take down the capping MiG-29s at the very least. We'll be probably a little bit behind you. And then I'm still not even sure what the game plan will be for that SA-10. We'll have to come up with that, but we're going to need a little bit of time to work on it. So,
okay, we'll hit you up in the chat in a couple days.
Yeah, intel's showing so from Tonopah, and they're essentially taking turns coming from either Tonopah or from Tonopah Test, putting up their cap, and their cap is just hanging out here on this western or eastern edge, right on the edge of their SA-10 WES. So they're not trespassing outside of this WES. So I would anticipate them hanging out in the same spot, just kind of in this general area, just in response to anything that we put up, right? So, and that's why that sweep is essentially up here, because I'm anticipating once you break the flot and you start pushing, they're hopefully going to respond to you and just come at you from wherever they are, up here, whatever. Hopefully they respond to you. You guys can take out that first contingent of cap and then clear the way for Czech and Joker to work this SA-10 however they think it's going to work best. And then once these two calls, Backhoe and Jackhammer, are given, that's the clearance for Dude to start working this SA-6 to clear the way. I'll be right back, guys.
Do you think the hogs are going to need to give that FARP a once over on the way in?
Yeah, I'm still playing around with different things right now on the best way to tackle this, but I'll have a game plan for everybody 75th wise in a day or two here. I think it's going to make the most sense for Bucko to hit the airfield T-bone to hit the FARP with the contingency of pushing the 130 route in, and then Maniac on outer defense. If we can get that many hog pilots, but I think we'll definitely get 8. I don't know if we're going to get a full 12. We'll see.
All right, I'm back, guys. Sorry about that. I had to step away.
I may regret asking this, but is there a reason why we would want to have someone working security around that FARP, which is behind the flot?
Is there a reason we would or would not?
I'll take an answer to either.
Okay, so we've got NASAM's battery here. Are you talking about this one? Or are you talking about
where we're taking off from, New Dallas or whatever?
Yes. So you got a NASAM's that's got a decent WES. They reach out right to the SA-10 WES, so it's not great. It's NASAM's, for crying out loud. You've got an 8-mile buffer. Granted, you've got the potential of people sneaking up through these mountains, and then you've got ground forces. You've got strikers and ground, a bunch of army dudes on the ground as well.
Okay.
So
cool.
Strikers, Hummers, all that stuff.
Okay.
So it is a pretty forward FARP, but one that is pretty well established and secure, we hope.
Sure.
What else?
What was the enemy helo threat again?
So enemy helos are operating continuously behind, especially from the airfields. So you've got this close FARP, and you've got Pahut Mesa, and we're seeing regular MI8. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. MI8, Hind, and what are those? The 50s. What are those things? They're attack birds, as well.
Yep.
Kind of just working back and forth, doing patrolling and stuff like that. Supplies, personnel transfers, stuff like that. All kind of 24-hour operations in this AO. So I would anticipate helicopters somewhere, right? Whether they're at the airfield or they're at this FARP or they're in transit, they're working just as hard on their side of the FLOT as we are on our side of the FLOT.
If you
Hey,
guys have
Karma.
any invincible helicopters, just let me know. I'll shoot an AMRAAM at them.
Yeah, no invincible helicopters. Yeah, go ahead, Joni.
No, it wasn't me. Somebody else had a question.
It was back up. Hey, what's our min force for guys on the ground? Army guys getting them on the ground.
For you guys,
Yeah, just overall for mission success.
at least 2 C-130s of infantry, and then any support vehicles just make their job that much better. So if we can get tows, strikers, striker ATGMs would be fantastic. Whatever, but at least 2 full C-130s, that's like almost a full company of infantry, right?
Hey, Karma, just
Yeah.
as a heads up, the last 2 times we dumped a whole bunch of infantry on a map, it almost crashed the server, though.
Yeah. But we're not gonna. This is gonna be notional when it comes to that. We're not
Okay.
gonna
All right,
not gonna bring the server to its knees with this, with just logistics. So we'll talk about that with the C-130 guys, like what works best for getting the infantry dudes down there. Realistically, but notionally, you know what I mean? Like, let's do it, but let's not kill the server with 300.
No, that's all good. The only reason I ask you that is because I'm wanting to, if we need to come up, if we can't get DZ ice for primary, what are we going to use to push us to the secondary? Is kind of what I'm getting at here.
That would be a call from. That's
Mr. Your Strike Star will make that call.
Yep.
We'll have the best
Yep.
to say on what's going on.
All right, because if that happens, that tells me that the Hilo LZ, that whole airport is still hot or cherry.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be more prone to not fly in from the north, and would actually be coming in from the south side to go up to that secondary DZ. So just as long as we're all tracking on that, if we
Yes.
do push to secondary, we'll be coming from the south.
Gotcha. What, like maybe just come down this ridge line?
Most likely, yeah, just to make it easiest
Yeah.
for everybody that way, because we'll stay at CP General. I don't want to overcomplicate it, so we'll stay
Yeah.
at CP General, and then we'll probably push to that waypoint. What is that? I can't tell what number that is, but
Right here.
whatever that is up there close to the FARP, we'll actually probably go pretty close to the FARP, and then push south along that ridge line,
Okay.
and then we'll come down that way.
Cool.
Oh, one more thing on that primary DZ right there, that waypoint just north of it. Can you give me a distance on that real quick?
From here to
Yeah, from
here.
that waypoint down.
Yeah, 5.6 miles ish.
All right, can you pull that up to about 8-ish miles? Just to see where it's at.
8.2 right there.
Okay. All right.
Is that good?
Yeah, if that's too far north, then that's fine. We'll make it work, but that's
No.
probably it's going to be about what we need for a good run in.
We're allowed to bust for this mission. We're allowed to bust this border because
Okay.
we've got these assets here that we've got to deal with. So
Okay.
these, this from here to here essentially is open for us to play.
Cool. And we'll work it out with First Reg as well. If there's any other changes that we need to make, then we can look at it a little more in depth later.
All right. What else?
I'm going to take off. Is there anything else for the Vipers sweep cap for tonight?
No, unless you guys have anything for us. That's a requirement.
No, it looks good from what I'm seeing. If there's any issues, we'll let you know.
All right. Awesome. Thank you guys.
Yeah, have a good one.
Yeah. All right. Any other discussion items before I put this out for you guys to work and solidify your tactics? Cool. All right.
Sounds good. Don't let there be 5,000 golden BB BTR one-shot kill.
You know what I'm going to do to you, Fod? I'm just going to drop a SA-15 right underneath you.
Payback's a bitch.
All right, boys. Okay, if there's nothing else, thank you guys very much. I look forward to this next week. This is going to be a lot of fun, I think.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks for the briefing, guys. Have a good night.
Thanks, Carmen.
Yep. Good night. Good night.